Morning, everybody. It's good to see you wherever you are out there. So I'm David. I'm here to lead today's class, and we're going to be doing a combination of breathing exercises, some moving meditation with Vinyasa, and then, as always, some seated or reclining meditation toward the end. So today, don't really need any special props, just a yoga mat, some bare feet, and you'll be good to go. So let's start as we normally do. Just settle into a seated posture of some type. For the next few moments, let your hands rest in your lap in some comfortable way. Close your eyes and redirect all of your focus to your breath. And first, let your breathing be normal. Pay attention to the rate at which you breathe. Whenever your mind wanders elsewhere, just notice and redirect to that observation. So traditional yoga literature states that the following breath is helpful for the avoidance of infectious diseases. Don't know if that's true or not, but it's timely right now, so we'll give it a shot and hopefully we'll have some good luck with that. Now, even if that doesn't happen, it's definitely calming for the mind to do this breathing practice. It's called Tritali Pranayam. It's very simple. You just create the sound C through your teeth repetitively. Now, I will start out with you so you can hear it from your side. When you're practicing, as soon as you end one round, begin another one right away and just continue on until I let you know to stop. So for now, breathe in deeply. Now return to some normal breathing patterns for a little bit. And again, just pay attention to your breath, redirecting attention inside every time your mind wanders elsewhere. And then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Bring to mind someone you'd like to dedicate today's practice to. And then send your person some good energy mentally. All right, when you're ready to get to it, we'll start with some old school cat-cow kriyas. So come to a 4-pointed kneeling position with your shoulders above your hands and your knees a bit behind your hips. At first, round your spine with your exhales and roll your tail under. Then arch your spine with your inhales. And continue on moving back and forth like that. Huge breaths out and deep breaths in. Once that starts to feel pretty nice, get more creative about your motions. As I always like to mention in class, you can move around in any way, shape, or form that feels right in this posture because there's nothing that you could do that would be wrong. So just keep moving around intuitively. Find the spots that feel a little tense and use your freestyle motions to open them. And then from that position, curl your toes under and back and find your way to the down dog. Do some pedaling to loosen up your calf muscles. Remember, it doesn't matter if your heels touch the floor, just press them down and you'll get a great solid stretch radiating down your legs. Now, the next time you breathe in, roll to a plank position. You can use your knees on the ground if it helps you. For the moment, lower down about half with an exhale. And then roll over your toes for an up dog with an inhale. Knees can be up or down. Lift your hips again for the down dog stretch. And take a look forward. Step or jump all the way up to the front of your mat. And come up to the tips of your fingers. Then fold with your exhale. Use an inhale to sweep all the way upwards to standing. And then once you're there, grab a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Pull that arm straight and side bend your torso to the right hand side. And then look left and upward under your armpit as you keep breathing into the stretch. And then inhale to come all the way up to the top. Grab your right wrist with the left hand, pull up, and then tip your torso in the other direction this time around. Let's try to create lots of length for the side of the body by reaching through your hand. Next time you breathe in, come all the way back up. Then another one of those forward folds with your exhale. Bend your knees if it helps and take your hands to the ground. And for now, bend your legs and upward sweep your arms to the ceiling above you. Join your hands together in a prayer at your chest, rotating off to your right and cross your left elbow completely over your legs. Join your hands together in a prayer and then rotate some of the tension out of your back. As you twist, just sort of twist it out like you're rinsing out a wash rag at your kitchen sink. And of course, while doing that, breathe deep. Next time you breathe in, sweep your arms back up to chair posture. Join your hands together in a prayer. Rotate off for the same posture on the other side. Once you've got your elbow hooked over your leg, tighten down on the twist, and then breathe into all the spots that might be potentially resisting. Next time you inhale, sweep your arms all the way back up. Straighten your legs to stand up tall. Take your hands to your waist and then heel toe your feet apart until they're separated by hip distance. Squeeze your elbows all the way back in together. Shift your hips forward a little bit. Lift up through the base of your ribs to back bend. Nothing too crazy because we're still getting warmed up. Use an inhale to come up. Forward fold with your exhale and take your hands down. And lift upwards to your fingers on the inhale. Bend your legs and plant your hands. High push up to low, chaturanga. The up dog with an inhale. And the down dog stretch with an exhale. A few rounds of really deep breath once there. And if you check out mentally, just do your best to deepen the stretch. And a few more rounds of those. Take a look forward. Step or hop to your thumbs. Rise up to your fingers on the inhale. Then fold with your exhale. Use an inhale to sweep all the way up to standing. Join your hands in a prayer at your chest. Inhale to sweep them up. Forward fold as you breathe out. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push up with an exhale. The up dog with an inhale. Down dog stretch with an exhale. This one is supposed to be restful, so work as little as you can. And as you breathe deeply, just try to relax a little bit. Now, don't do too many of these, otherwise it'll cook the energy that you've got for the fun stuff. So just one more. Take a look forward, step or jump to the front of your mat. Come up to your fingers, then fold again with your exhale. Use an inhale to sweep all the way to standing. Hands to your chest with your exhale. Inhale to sweep them up. Fold forward as you breathe out. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. The up dog with an inhale. And the down dog stretch with your exhale. Now this time, step your right foot all the way forward. Turn your back heel down to the floor. And inhale all the way up to warrior one. Interlace your hands if you're able. If not, they can definitely be apart. Bend your front leg and reach your fingertips all the way upwards toward the roof. At the same time, keep your back leg as straight as you possibly can. And chaturanga push-up the next time you exhale. Try to scrape your elbows into your ribs. Then the up dog with an inhale. And the down dog with your exhale. Step your left foot forward. Turn your back heel to the floor. Inhale upwards to warrior one. Take the same arm or hand position as you did before. With your back leg very straight, reach up through your fingertips. If it doesn't feel good to look up at your hands, you can always look forward instead. And chaturanga push-up with your exhale. Then the up dog as you breathe in. And the down dog as you exhale. Press out through your hands to elongate the top. Lift your tailbone a little higher up and press your heels down toward the ground. And we're going to loop back to where you just were. Step your left foot forward, turn your back heel to the ground, and from there come up to warrior one again. Now this time with a twist. Join your hands together in a prayer, lean forward, rotate off to the left, and attempt to hook your elbow over your leg. If that's hard to do, you can always spin your rearmost heel up. For the next few moments, press your hands together and continue to twist and spin. Next time you breathe in, sweep your arms all the way up. With your arms upward lifted, straighten your leg and turn your feet to face the long edge of your mat. From there, warrior two facing the other direction. Spin your right toes back and your left toes in. Bend your right leg substantially. As you lean forward, rotate off to the side and cross your arm all the way over your leg again. Deep breaths as you continue to twist and spin. Try to send your breath into the space between your ribs. Next time you breathe in, back to warrior one with upward lifted arms. Straighten your leg, turn your feet to face sideways. This time take your hands to your waist. Turn your big toes in very slightly. Squeeze your elbows back in together, and then take a back bend with your next breath in. Forward fold with your exhale and take both of your hands down. Turn your toes out, bend your legs, let your head hang near the floor, and crisscross your arms near the ground to get them out of the way. Then stand up with an inhale, straighten your legs and reach your arms up. Bend and cross with your exhale. Inhale to stand up completely. Exhale, bend. Inhale upwards. Exhale, bend. Twice more, inhale. Exhale. And inhale up. Exhale, bend. This time, keep your legs bent. Take your hands to your kneecaps and press your knees apart. Now let your torso drop down so your torso sort of fits between your thighs. As you do that, rotate your torso off to the right-hand side. If you can straighten your left arm, do so. Otherwise, it's definitely okay to keep both arms bent. Square your chest with the ground with an inhale. Switch to the other side with your exhale. Again, both arms can be bent if you like. Otherwise, try to straighten out your right arm for a slightly different stretch in your back. The next one is a slightly different variation on what you're doing. Square your chest with the ground. Take your hands to the floor and try to keep your spinal column really long and straight. Initially, with your legs still bent, reach your arms way out to your sides like airplane wings. Completely up to you, but if you want to make it harder, reach your arms forward with your palms facing up. Lift your arms upward in the air and try to keep your torso parallel to the floor as you keep on breathing deep. Now from there, use an inhale to stand up, straighten your legs completely. Reach your arms way out to the sides. Take a long and big step to get back to the front of your mat. For now, close your eyes for the next few moments. With hands joined together in a prayer, just shift your awareness back to your breath. Let your breathing be normal. And just feel all those currents of energy spreading throughout your body entire. You'll most likely want a little more space for the next one, so step back just a little so you have 1 or 2 feet worth of space at the front of your mat. Then use an inhale to sweep your arms up. Forward fold as you exhale. Old school classic, the crow. Lift to your fingers, and then squat deeply down on your heels and fan your knees all the way out to the sides. Once you've done that, plant your hands on the ground about shoulder distance wide. Bend your arms and try to squiggle your legs onto your uppermost arms. Now, if you want to modify, lean a little way forward into your hands. If you don't want to modify, lift your butt, take 1 foot up, and possibly both of them. For the next few moments, look at something solid on the floor down there, and breathe deeply again. And if you're feeling wild and crazy, you can just jump to a low push-up. Otherwise, take your feet down, use your legs to hop, and then the up dog, and a down dog stretch with your exhale. Step your right foot forward, turn your back heel to the ground, and from there, come up to your fingertips. Once you've done so, take your left hand to the outside of your right foot and your right hand to your hip. Slowly start straightening out your leg just a little bit at a time. If it won't straighten completely, that is totally okay. But rotate your chest off to the right hand side. And for the moment, reach your right arm straight upwards in the air as you continue to hold the twist. It's the revolved triangle, Parivrtta Trikonasana. And then bending your leg, take both hands to the floor, high push up to low, the up dog with an inhale, and the down dog with an exhale. So lots of ways to come into this. Today, step your left foot forward, turn your back heel down to the ground. Once you've done that, place your right fingertips directly outside of the foot. Take your left hand to your hip and work toward a straighter leg. Just elongate it a bit at a time. As you come up to your fingertips, if you're able to rotate, twist your chest left. Reach your left arm straight upwards in the air to the sky. And just keep breathing as you hold the twist. Now transition is just a little different. Bend your leg and inhale up to warrior one. Take your hands to your waist, straighten your leg, turn your feet to face sideways, and then heel toe your feet apart until they're quite a lot wider than your hips. Squeezing your elbows back in together. And shift your hips forward and take the back bend with your inhale. Then forward fold with your exhale and take your hands down to the floor. Use an inhale to lift to your fingertips. Walk your hands over, grab your right leg somewhere. Either stay there or forward fold over your leg with your exhale. And the next time you inhale, lift up through your chest. The next time you exhale, switch over to the other side. And then use your inhale to lift all the way up to your fingertips. With your toes substantially spun in, pull it forward from there and stretch the top of your head closer to the floor. Rock a little weight forward toward the balls of your feet and just breathe slowly once there. And flex the muscles in your upper legs, and sometimes it'll be easier to elongate both legs at once. All right, you all use an inhale to come up to your fingertips. From there, take your hands to your waist. Stand up with an inhale and take a back bend once you reach the top. Exhale all the way back upwards. Turn your toes out and take a really big step to get back to the front of your mat. So I'm going to rotate my body around to face the camera to make it easier for you to see this next part. You can stay near the front of the mat if that's what works best for you. For now, reach both arms all the way out to your sides. And then swing your right leg behind the left. I'm going to swing my left leg back, but swing your right leg behind the left until your legs are crossed. Now next, bend your knees just a little bit till one knee hooks right behind the other. If you want to go deeper, lean forward so that your fingers come to the floor, and then keep sliding down until your knee hooks behind the right ankle itself. Now from there, lean back a little bit till your torso comes to vertical. Reach your arms completely out to the sides, and finish it by wrapping your right arm under the left. Wrap your forearms up if possible and let them intertwine. With your elbows lifted high, press your hands away from your face and your jaw for now. Now from there, lean forward a little bit. Use an inhale to come all the way up to the top. Draw your knee high to the chest. Drop your foot back down to the earth and join your hands together in a prayer. Now, same on the other side. Both arms all the way out. Swing your left knee behind the right. Now, if your knees are a little sensitive, it might make best sense to stay higher. So if so, hook one knee behind the other and stay at that higher place. Now, if you want to go further, your knees feel all right with it, lean forward so you have a kickstand of sorts, and then just work on sliding your knee down toward your ankle. Ideally, you even get your buttocks down to your heel. Once that's happening, walk your hands back, where your torso is more vertical. Reach both arms completely out to your sides. And if the balance of it allows, wrap your left arm under the right, lift your elbows a little higher, and press your hands away from your face and your jaw as you maintain. Now lean forward just a bit to put some weight in the leg. Stand all the way up. Draw your knee high to the chest. Drop your foot to the floor and join your hands together in a prayer of your heart. Now, our next one is with bent legs as well. Bend your knees, touch your fingers to the floor. Inhale your arms all the way up to the ceiling. Take your hands to your waist. Cross your right leg over top of left. Lean forward from there. Once your torso is parallel-ish to the mat, consider reaching both arms out to the sides like an airplane. Bend your standing leg until you feel a good solid stretch in your hip. And now do your best to maintain your balance on the way out and inhale to come up. Drop your foot and join your hands in a prayer. Set your stance by bending your legs and then inhale your arms upwards to the ceiling. With your hands taken to your hips, cross your other ankle over this time. Reach your arms way out to the sides. Lean forward either a little bit or quite a lot until your torso gets parallel-ish to the floor beneath. All right, from there, use an inhale to sweep upwards. Draw your knee high to the chest. Drop your foot, rejoin your hands together in a prayer. And inhale to sweep your arms up. Forward fold with an exhale. Lift up to your fingers. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. And the up dog with an inhale. The down dog with an exhale. And then the child's pose. Let your knees drop toward the floor. Allow your hips to settle down toward your heels. And your forehead to rest on your hands and upper. And again, just observe your body and observe your breath. The moment your mind wanders, just redirect. All right, we're going to work towards something fun and entertaining for today. So I'll again turn my body toward the camera to make it easier for you to see. But if you will, come to a kneeling position with your knees out to the sides. You can lift your hips off the heels if that's a bit much for your knees. In fact, now just go ahead and do that. So you can plant your hands on the floor with your fingers sort of facing sideways. Now, initially, just stretch your forearm muscles by pedaling your hands in place on the ground. If that's feeling pretty good, give yourself a deeper stretch by letting your hips settle down towards your heels. And just keep sort of kneading the ground like a cat kneading a blanket or a comforter. Now, sometimes it's good to twist the wrist to prepare for the next one too. So sit up in some comfortable way. If this doesn't work, you can do cross legs. But extend your arms forward. Turn your thumbs down. Wrap your right hand over top of left. And with your fingers intertwined, rotate your thumbs toward your jaw. As your fists go upward, you'll start to get a really solid and big foundational twist in your wrist. All right, let your thumbs sweep downwards. Cross your left arm over right. Interlacing your fingers, rotate your thumbs toward your face and just spiral your hands up so that your knuckles face the sky. All right, so this is one of my favorite party tricks of all time. It's called an elbow lever. Now, if this is too much, you can always repeat the curl that we did previously, but the outside of it is actually pretty accessible. Start out with your knees really, really wide initially. Once you've done that, see if you can lift your hips temporarily upward and off of your heels, and then plant your hands on the mat right there in front of you, kind of like you were going to do a cat-cow. Now, once that's established, spin the fingers of your left hand out to the left, so your fingers are sort of at a diagonal. Now, you can round your spine as much as you need to, but bend your elbow and try to put the front of the pelvis on the elbow itself. And then from there, lean a little bit of weight forward, slide your knees further backward, and take just a little bit more weight onto your hand. Now, if that goes well, lift one leg upward into the air. If that's going well, lift the other leg upward into the air. And today, just balance there with your elbow bent and the elbow in the front of the pelvis itself. Couple deep breaths. And then take your knees all the way down and come all the way back up. So you'll have to experiment with your hand position. I personally like to spin my fingers at the diagonal. You might like more backward, but play around with it. But initially, lift up again. Spin the fingers of your right hand outward. Now, the tricky part is getting the elbow to the front of the pelvis. Sometimes it helps to walk your left hand a little further forward. Now, once you've done that, round your spine substantially. Lean all the way forward onto the elbow itself. And at first, that's a great practice to maintain. If it went well, though, try to lift one knee up, possibly lift the other foot up, and for the next few moments, just do your best to hover there as you breathe. Come all the way back down from there. Once you've done so, again, come back to your kneeling position. Turn your thumbs down once more. Wrap your left arm over top of right. Rotate your thumbs toward your face and give your wrists a twist. And then the same in the other direction. Anytime you do an arm balance, it's nice to do this wrist twist because it sort of helps to reset your arms. Don't have to do it every time, but it is nice if they get sensitive. All right, y'all, when you're ready, go ahead and plant your hands up there near the very front of your mat. And once you've done so, step back to the downward facing dog once more. Now, the next time you breathe in, roll to a plank and lower all the way down to your stomach. Prop yourself up on your elbows. Parallel your left forearm with the front of your mat and place your right hand in a push-up position. Now, rotate to your right and bend your right leg back there. Reach your hand over the top of your foot if possible. Otherwise, just draw your heel towards your bum. If you can, put your hand on the top of the foot so you can really press it down toward the floor. And if that's working well for you, spin your fingertips around till your fingers face your toes. Now, that's a good place to be. If you don't want any more stretch, keep doing that. Otherwise, parallel your left forearm with the side of your mat, and then combine a cobra and a frog by straightening your left arm as much as you can as you keep pressing down on your foot beneath. All right, so the first one is Ardha Bekasana, the half frog. Parallel your right forearm with the front of your mat. Place your left hand in a push-up position. Bend your left leg. When you reach back, if you're having difficulty putting your hand on top of the foot, just grab the foot like you would in the bow and draw your foot toward your bum. Elbow up is the next possibility with some pressure on the foot. And fingers facing the toes is the third possibility. Now, functionally, you're getting the stretch that we're after there, but if you want to deepen said stretch, parallel your right forearm with the side of your mat, and then slowly elongate your right arm. If that just winds up being way too much stretch, feel free to do the previous one, but keep breathing nevertheless. Take your elbow back down to the floor. Let your foot drop down to the ground. In that position, plant your hands near the bottom of your ribs. Press to an up dog with an inhale. And then lift your hips to the down dog with your exhale. And next, step your right foot forward. Take your back knee all the way down to the ground. Once you've done so, take your hands to your right kneecap and let your hips settle closer to the floor. Now, from that position, we want to stretch the hip flexors to some degree. There's a few ways to do that, but today, do it as a back bend. Lift up to the front of your ribs. Let your hips sink down and forward as you continue to sink. And again, breathe deep. If you want to make it deeper, let your arms hang near your sides. Take a back bend and try to touch your fingers to the floor. Otherwise, hang out with me with your hands on your knee instead. Great place to be. All right, use an inhale to come up. Lean forward, plant your hands. Step back to the high push-up. Lower down through chaturanga. Up dog with the inhale. Down dog with your exhale. And step your left foot all the way forward. Take your back knee to the floor. Once you've got your hands on your kneecap, come up to vertical again with your torso. If you lift your butt, you'll lose some of the stretch in the back leg, so really sink your hips down and forward for the next few moments. Slide your shoulders down away from your ears. Lift up to the base of your ribs to back bend, and keep breathing as you hold. Now, if you're feeling super bendy today, let your arms hang near your sides. Take a deeper back bend with your palms facing forward and try to touch your fingers to the ground. Again, if you want to modify like I am, just keep your hands on your knee instead. Let your hips drop down toward the mat just a little further. Use an inhale to lift your chest. Planting your hands, step back to the high plank position, and then drop your knees to the floor. That puppy dog stretch. Shift your hips back a little bit till your thighs feel more vertical. Walk your hands all the way forward. And initially let your chest drop toward the floor a little bit. And if you can put your forehead on the ground, take it there. And if your chin will come down to rest on the floor, then take it there. Slow breaths as you let your rib cage and chest descend down toward the ground. For the next few moments, just use this to open up the middle section of your back. And now round your spine in order to lift your elbows up. Roll yourself down to your hips. Initially, take your elbows down to the ground like a sphinx and lift your collarbones in your chest. If you want a little more stretch, then work towards straighter arms for the cobra. Slide your shoulders down away from your ears toward your belt. Pull backward with your hands and lift upwards to your chin. And now to put all that stuff together, come all the way back down to the ground. Just initially, bend your legs, wave your ankles from one side to the other side repetitively. Now, initially, if it makes it easier to grab the ankles on the bow, you can slide your knees a little wider apart. Reach back there and grab a foot or both of your feet if you can get them. Now, there's a few ways to do this, but for today, lean forward to transfer some weight forward toward your chest. If you like, you can even put your forehead on the ground. With your head still down, use your exhales to press your feet upward in the air. Just take a few breaths like that. Feet press up with your exhales. Now, once your feet are lifted, squeeze your shoulders back in together. And to lift your head, just look forward to the front of the class. And as you do that, press your feet just a little higher still and try to keep deepening your breath. Give everything a slight bit more upward lift. Relax down to the floor. Cross your arms, bend your legs, and wave your ankles from one side to the other side. It's always good to do some stabilizers after that. So let your feet drop down to the floor. Roll completely over onto your left-hand side for an old school clamshell. And then draw your knees toward your chest. Now, today we're just going to do it as a static hold. So elevate your right knee to the ceiling. Press your left elbow into the ground. Lift your hips upward into the air. And then reach your right arm straight up. If you like, you can put your hand behind your skull, or you can keep it lifted up. If you want to make it a little harder, lift your right ankle off of the left to tone and strengthen your outer hips. And then let your hips come all the way back down to the earth. Flip over to the other side. Once you're propped up on your right elbow, draw your knees toward your chest. With left arm up or behind your skull, elevate your hips and lift your left knee upwards. It's like before, if you want to make it a little more challenging, lift your left ankle off of the right ankle. You know you're getting it right when you feel some burning in your outermost hips. Let yourself roll all the way back down to the ground. From that position, roll onto a reclining position on your back with your feet pointed forward toward the front of your mat. Now, these want to stabilize your glutes. Good protection from your lower back. Squeeze your arms tight into your sides. Bend your arms to 90 degrees so that your forearms are vertical. And as you press your elbows down, squeeze your shoulders back in together. Heel toe your feet toward the midline of your mat with your legs bent. Initially, draw your right knee into your chest. Now use an inhale to power down through your left foot and lift your hips up. Exhale, drop them down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. Inhale, rise. Exhale, down. Twice more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale to lift and hold. If you want to make it harder, extend your right leg straight up and then drop it down and forward until your right knee is approximately even with the left. And squeeze your butt. And draw your right knee toward your chest and let your hips come back down. Squeeze your shoulders under again if they've slipped. Draw your left knee toward your collarbones. Use an inhale to lift your hips. And then sink with your exhale. These are medicine for your back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Final one is held. Rise all the way up to the top. It's optional to straighten your left leg. It's definitely optional to drop it down until the left knee is even with the right. Try to keep pressing through your right foot and squeezing your butt. Draw your left knee in, take your foot to the floor, and let your hips come all the way back down to the ground. Now this time with your legs still remaining bent, reach your fingers forward and attempt to touch your fingers to your heels. And then scoot your feet forward just a little tiny bit more until you can no longer touch the heels. Belly crunch up to the front, curl your chin to your chest, and then slide your right hand toward your right heel and your left hand toward your left heel, and alternate from left side to right side. Still breathe deeply if you can. Recline back on the ground. Reach both of your arms completely out to your sides. And take the eagle's position with your legs. Wrap your left knee over your right knee. Slide your hips to the left. And then slowly drop your knees to the right. For the next few moments, just breathe as you passively twist your spine. Try to send your inhales into your left upper chest. Use an inhale to sweep your knees back up. Center your hips at the midline of your mat. Wrap your right knee over left. Shift your hips to the right. And take the same twisting posture on the other side. Lots and lots of breath. Like before, imagine you were sending your inhales into your right upper chest. Now sweep your knees all the way back upward. Center your hips with the midline of your mat. And then thread the needle. Sweep your right arm through the space that you've created. Grab a hold of your left leg somewhere. Lean back on the floor and draw your left knee towards your chest. It'll give you a solid opening in your outermost hip. If you want a deeper opening, belly crunch up to the front. Wrap your left elbow around the foot. Your right arm outside the knee, and interlace your hands in front of your shin. Now, use your leg to press the legs closer to your chest. Then if you're going further, straighten your left leg completely, around your upper back, and just sort of belly crunch into it for a little bit. Climb backward onto the ground. Cross your left leg over top of right leg. Thread the needle with your left arm, and grab a hold of your right leg somewhere. And then reclining back on the floor, draw your right knee towards you for now. Now, the next one is optional, but it's a nice deepening if you want more stretch. And if you're going to do a belly crunch up to get your chest closer to your leg, wrap your arm around the foot itself, the right arm around the left foot. Hug your leg with the other arm and draw it toward your chest. Now, you can ease a little more range of motion into the legs by using your right leg to press back against the arm and the other leg. Keep crunching up. Straighten your right leg as completely as possible. As you maintain there, just breathe deep for a few more rounds. When you're ready, recline back onto the ground for the corpse pose. Make any final adjustments you need to get your body comfortable and still. If you prefer to see the meditation posture, feel free to do that as an alternative. And give you the next few moments on your own to just settle in. So I would say for the first majority of my career, probably for 17 years or so, I was completely professionally obsessed. I absolutely love yoga, and I absolutely love meditation, and truly, I really didn't want to focus on anything else. So I didn't. As a consequence of that, I became pretty one-dimensional. I focused on yoga practices and forgot about all the other really great things that will make a human life vibrant. At the end of all that striving, I found myself feeling a little bit empty. I felt disconnected from other people in my life, and I felt myself lacking the sources of joy that I had let go of so long ago. Now, at that moment, I actually had the good fortune to read a book in which it was said that we are surrounded by sparks of possibility at all times. It's up to us as human beings to choose which sparks to light into a fire. Now, once I started to reflect on that, I realized that there were all sorts of things that I had always wanted to do that I let go of when I really started to prioritize work. At that point, realizing that that wasn't working for me, I decided to prioritize the sparks, and that's brought me so much happiness and joy. And one example of that was my obsession with friction fires. I remember when I was a little kid, my mom tried to keep me busy by telling me that if I rubbed sticks together for long enough, that it would create flame. So I went out there, I rubbed those sticks until it seemed like forever, and of course, no flame came. Even so, that left a memory in my mind, and even now as an adult, then as an adult, I realized that it would be fun to learn how to do that. So I popped open YouTube, I watched some techniques, and I set about trying to make a friction fire. Now, at first, honestly, for weeks, I had absolutely no success whatsoever, but it was really fun to try. So I kept trying and I kept trying. At some point, I tried so much inside of my house as it turned into winter that my ex-wife told me that I couldn't light friction fires inside anymore because my cats were starting to smell like smoke. Nevertheless, I persisted and I went outside, I kept rubbing those sticks together, and after a while, I got a flame, which was one of the most amazing things I've experienced in my adult life. Now, I bring that example up because sometimes if you choose to focus on a spark in your life, it might be a spark that nobody else understands. And that is absolutely okay. The sparks that you want to light only have to be important to you. That's enough to make them relevant. So toward the end of today's practice, after we go through a body scanning practice to calm your mind, I'll give you a few moments to contemplate what types of sparks in your life you might like to light up. And after that, if you take some action on that, I think it'll also bring some additional happiness to your life outside of the functional aspects of the yoga practice. Now, all that's, of course, up to you, but for now, if you will, just redirect all of your awareness to your eyes. And with your outer body still and heavy, just keep your focus rooted there. If your mind wanders off, notice and redirect. And shift your awareness to the middle of your throat next. As your breath grows natural, just stay focused on the center of your throat. It's okay to have thoughts, just try not to interact. Let them come and go like clouds in the sky. Shift focus to your shoulders. Your thoughts are still there, just don't let them disturb your concentration. Shift focus to your elbows. And when your mind wanders, redirect. Shift awareness to your wrists. Palms of the hands. Tips of the fingers. Shift awareness to your hips. Kneecaps. Ankles. Bottoms of your feet. Tips of your toes. Right and left side of your body. Back of your body. Navel. Center chest. Tips of the shoulders. Back of the neck. And send awareness from your heart to the palms of your hands. From your heart to the bottoms of the feet. And from your heart to the base of the spine, and again upward to the top of your head. So, whereas for the first part of my adult life, I was obsessed with my career, I am now obsessed with lighting sparks into fires. And I've done that with so many different things. I had an interest in Olympic weightlifting, so I trained for a while to do a competition in that, and I had a blast while doing it. I also learned how to walk on hot coals, and I've learned how to do cold exposure so I can jump into icy lakes in the middle of the winter. And I've even learned how to make a better risotto. And I've got all sorts of different projects going on right now, and they bring me so much joy. Now, for me personally, I've found when pursuing those sparks that I've encountered two major obstacles. The first is myself, and the second is other people. Now, as far as I'm concerned, whenever I'm interested in doing one of those things, I feel this inner voice telling me that's a waste of time, or there's no reason you should be doing that. You should focus on something else instead. But I've learned through the school of hard knocks and direct experience that that's not true. Those things really are important because the things that bring joy to one's life are the most important things to pursue. On the other hand, when I was pursuing all those different things, some of my friends and family just didn't understand. I spent hours at a time rubbing sticks together to try to get fire, and people couldn't figure out what the point was. Now, at first, I tried to rationalize my decisions by telling them that it had something to do with survival techniques or surviving the apocalypse or something like that. I'm not so sure they believed me because I wasn't being genuine. As soon as I figured that out, I just started telling the truth. I told them that I found friction fires interesting, and I'm a person who likes to pursue those things that I find interesting. As soon as I shared that, they started to understand, and I was left to my own devices to do what I wanted to do. Now, your obstacles may be similar, they may be totally different. But if you let those obstacles get in the way, you'll miss out on so many amazing opportunities. So for the next few moments, now that you have a little downtime, just redirect your mind's eye to your own inner experience. And think about some of the sparks in your life, the things that really interest you. those things you might want to do that you've always put off. For the next few moments, just contemplate some of those things and the joy that doing them might bring to your life. Acknowledge and recognize any voices inside that tell you they shouldn't or that you can't, or the ones that form excuses. Let them chatter there in the background without interacting. And instead, just focus on the task at hand. Identify those things that might possibly really light you up. Perhaps think about one of them that you would really like to go after. It can be anything at all, small or large. Might take a little bit of time, might take a lot of time. None of that matters at all. And then consider a simple first step that you could take toward doing that later on today. Don't wait till tomorrow. You don't know if that's going to come or not. Focus on today. And if you're motivated to do that at all, set a strong intention in your mind to act on it. And then for now, if you will, redirect all your awareness to your breathing. For the final few moments here, just practice breathing only when absolutely necessary. Let your breath stream be shallow. At the end of every normal exhale, hold your breath out until it becomes slightly uncomfortable, and then repeat that over and over. Every time you hold your breath out, let your mind settle. If your mind has wandered, redirect it to your breath and just start breathing normally after that with no breath retention at all. Whenever you feel ready, then let yourself roll over to one side. And finally, with both eyes closed, come back to a seated and cross-legged posture of some type. Then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Bring to mind the person you dedicated today's practice to. Either pray for or wish for their happiness and their health. Take a moment to be grateful for another day. It's the basis of all the gifts that we receive. If you wish, repeat after me. May all sentient beings everywhere experience peace.